5 quick tips to help you improve at Supercross 25. Now that the game has been out for around a week, I figured I would go over some of the things that have helped me pick up some speed and get better at the game, and hopefully you guys can apply these kind of tips and tricks to your gameplay as well. We're going to keep it pretty simple and just touch on some basics that will hopefully help you guys improve your riding overall. Now, of course, these are just things that I personally found helpful, things that I focused on to help improve my own gameplay, and I figured I would kind of pass along just my thoughts and opinions, and hopefully that'll help you guys improve your gameplay as well. Now, if you guys do have any of your own tips and tricks, let me know in the comments below, and let's get into it. Starting off, I think one of the biggest areas to focus on if you're looking to improve your riding is just basically hitting smooth lines. Focus on hitting the rhythm sections clean. This is going to help you keep a flow around the entire track, and your lap times are going to just improve and improve and improve. I know going for the big lines all the time is very, very tempting, but it is okay to kind of slow things down and hit smaller lines when need be. You don't want to rush in a section and try and force big rhythms when you're not going to be able to make them happen just because you feel like you need to be hitting those big lines. Like I said, it is okay to slow things down and hit some smaller lines every now and then. Casing jumps is very, very punishing in this game, so like I said, focus on a smooth, clean flow through the rhythms around the track. If that means doubling into a rhythm section rather than tripling, then hey, there is nothing wrong with that. Focus on a smooth, clean flow through the rhythms around the whole entire track, and I guarantee it, those lap times will start to improve. Now, the next thing I want to touch on here is utilizing the outside lines in corners. Now, before I go too in depth about my tips and tricks for corners, I must say that understanding how cornering actually works in this game is crucial. Shifting the rider weight to the outside peg is key to turning in this game, and that involves steering with the left stick while using the right stick to lean the rider in the opposite direction of your turn. Whichever way you are turning, the rider lean should be going in the opposite direction. That's kind of the simplest way for me to put it. And you guys will have to play around with it and kind of get a feel for how turning works in this game. Basically, your sticks should be going in opposite directions when you are making a turn. When you do hit the outside lines, you are able to carry a ton of momentum, and that allows you to keep your speed up going into the next section or from one section to the next. I find the most helpful thing when it comes to hitting the outside lines is opening up your corner entry and setting yourself up for a good entry into the outside line. What I mean by opening up your corner entry is you want to be coming in wide to these corners. Set yourself up good for the corner and follow the line that forms, especially if you're playing with the AI or doing multiplayer races. You're going to get a nice rut or a nice berm that forms in the corner. Follow the line that forms. Don't try to fight it too much. Use your rider lean in your steering to stay locked in that berm. I find in this game, squaring up the corner or cutting down too early can cause you to get super sketchy, and it kind of does just seem ideal to follow the flow of the lines and let the berm kind of carry you around the corner. Now, of course, take that with a grain of salt. This isn't slot car racing, so there are some situations where cutting down early in a corner might work. You do have to kind of use your own judgment. Don't just stay in ruts because I said so. Now, the third thing I want to talk about is very comparable to what we just talked about with the outside lines, but this time it is the inside lines. In a lot of the previous Supercross games, inside lines didn't even exist, or if they did, they weren't very useful in a lot of cases. But the inside lines in Supercross 25 are very, very useful in certain spots, and they can be a very viable line option, or if anything, the preferred line option. Say, for example, you have a section where you're going to be doubling out of the corner, then the inside line is probably going to be the line of choice. You don't need to be going all the way to the outside line in order to double into a rhythm section most of the times. So rather than wasting time going to the outside, trust the inside ruts. They will catch you, and they are very, very useful. I think my biggest tip for inside lines is having a very slow entry, or maybe not very slow. You don't want to be stopped out there on the track, but slowing down your entry and making sure you get sat down into the rut is probably the biggest key to hitting inside lines. If you rush your entry into the inside line, you're gonna mess up the whole corner. It's just kind of the way it is. So you want a slow entry, and once the rut starts to grab you, you can ease on the throttle. That's another very important thing. You don't want to be too aggressive on the throttle, or else that back end is going to start to walk around on you. But a slow entry, easy on the throttle, trust the rut, and the inside lines are very useful in this game. Give them a shot if you haven't played around with some of the inside lines. Now, the fourth tip I have to talk about here today is kind of something we just briefly touched on, and that is throttle control. Throttle control is helpful all around the track, in the corners, in the rhythm sections, wherever it may be. Throttle control is key. Being smooth and consistent on the throttle is important to kind of keeping the bike stable and carrying momentum around the track. On the opposite side of that, if you are very choppy on the throttle, you're going to start to notice it in your gameplay when the back end starts stepping out on you and doing all sorts of things that you don't want it to do. Work on kind of easing the throttle on into the power when coming out of corners. You don't just want to go like wide open every time you touch the gas. Being able to master the throttle and kind of control how much power the bike is getting at any given point on the track is going to help you with navigating not only the corners, but the rhythm sections and everything in between. You can use the throttle to kind of carry you through the turns, which is very helpful for the two things we just talked about, inside and outside lines. Being smooth and steady on the throttle will really help you drive through those corners. And you will know when you're being too aggressive on the gas, because your back end's gonna start to step out, the bike's gonna be hard to control, and I find the bike is just pretty unpredictable when you're very aggressive on the throttle. So throttle control is key. Now, the fifth and final topic I want to touch on here has to do with scrubs. I find the more comfortable I get on the game, the more useful I'm finding it is to throw scrubs and be kind of active on the bike. At first, I was really scared to throw any scrubs or whips, and I find the more I play, the more useful they're becoming. So definitely don't be scared to throw whips and scrubs in certain places. Say, for example, there's a rhythm section where you need to double something and you don't need to full send it. A scrub is going to be able to help you stay low and kind of keep that flow, keep that momentum going forward. And at the same time, say you're like scrubbing into a corner, it can almost help set you up for certain corners in this game. Not every corner, because I do find if you jump too far into the corners and land a little sideways, it will kind of send you a little wonky and you'll just be along for the ride. But there are definitely places where scrubs can come in handy, not only saving you time and kind of shaving off some air time, but they also kind of allow you to, lean the bike over and almost get set up for the following corner. In all honesty, just be comfy moving around on the bike in general. I think when I first started playing the game, I was very stiff, like a piece of wood out there on the bike. And I find the more movement I have on the bike, the easier the game is, if that makes sense. For example, you can lean really far forward and kind of stretch out certain jumps if you need to. So yeah, just don't be scared to, move around and kind of try to find a flow between the bike and rider. You want the bike and the rider almost working together as one unit. Now, with that being said, keep in mind it's probably not the best idea to go out there and scrub every single jump, but it does have its uses, and don't be scared to try it out. Throwing some scrubs is not only just for steez and style points, it can also help you out in your gameplay. So yeah, scrubs, try them out. So yeah, those are the 5 things that I've tried to implement into my gameplay and kind of focus on over the last little bit. When it comes down to it, you just want to be riding smooth and hitting clean laps. The sketchier you get out there on the track, the slower you are going to be going. I do have one quick bonus tip I want to throw in at the end here, which is going through the whoops in 5th gear. Now, I know if you play on automatic transmission, you probably won't be able to take advantage of this tip, but if you do play on manual gearing, shift up to 4th or 5th gear in the whoops. This allows you to carry a ton of speed in the whoop sections. Rather than being stuck down in like 2nd or 3rd, shift up to 5th and hold it wide open. This has been a tip in, I want to say, all of the milestone games so far. 5th gear in the whoops is key. Of course, use your judgment. Not every whoop section is built the same, and there are some whoop sections in this game where I find 5th gear wide open the whole entire time does not work. Say, for example, you need to catch a tight inside after the whoop section. You need to be smart about it and kind of set yourself up for that corner. So so 5th gear wide open might not be the best choice. And with that being said, that is going to be it for my 5 quick tips to help you improve at Supercross 25. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, go down there, smash that thumbs up button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you guys did enjoy and you want to see more content like this. I have a few fun videos planned here for the near future, so make sure you guys stick around, stay tuned into the channel. Let me know any tips or tricks you guys have down below in the comments, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.